I believe that we have just witnessed the worst call in sports history. Guys. In fact, I believe we may have just witnessed the worst call in sports history. It's shocking that DJonai Carrington isn't the one committing the egregious infraction. One of the WNBA's most contentious personalities is DJ Carrington. Right now. And believe me, her narrative just became much more intriguing following the events of the July 26th Dallas Wings versus Golden State Valkyries game. In what may be the most ironic turn of the 2025 WNBA season, DJ has finally received a taste of her own medicine after creating headlines for all the wrong reasons. Tiffany actually soared above DJonai during that call. Crazy. Crazy. You could see the expression on Paige's face when the coach said, "Give them the next play," with, I believe, 55 seconds remaining on the clock or something. Even though the WNBA as a whole has been beset by officiating problems, Carrington has somehow escaped earning any really ridiculous calls. Everything changed on. The story changed on July 26th, and she finally experienced the pain of the league's most perplexing officiating. It doesn't play or appear like she's 35. Okay? Every single night, she brings them girls. It's okay. She got that act like that tiny face harness. Like to shield her nose, eyes, face, or whatever it is. I think she looks like a dominatrix. But like, who's that, bro? She seemed to be giving off a black raven or scarecrow vibe. Okay? Similar to a hawk. As if she were a predatory bird. Huh? And she plays that way. The other girls on the court are like worms to her. But she plays like a predator. She is preparing and devouring everyone, so they are bird food. Subscribe if you're enjoying it. Janelle Saloon's deep three missed with less than 2 minutes remaining, causing a scramble with Dallas behind by 3 points. After chasing the rebound, Carrington judiciously withdrew, allowing the ball to roll out and giving Dallas control. A wise warning. Then there was mayhem. Running full speed, Tiffany Hayes slammed into the now immobile Carrington from behind, sending both players sprawling on the ground. It appeared to be a foul on Hayes by any measure. She was obviously out of control as she made the initial contact. The ball is thus swung. The ball is shot by Janelle Saloon. It's emerging. It's emerging. It's emerging. Dane Carrington is merely attempting to keep the ball out of bounds. Just like you, she is defending the ball out of bounds. And she is tackled to the ground by Tiffany Hayes. Throws her to the floor. However, for some, even longtime WNBA fans were taken aback when the refs called Carrington's foul. I'll say it again because it's so absurd that it needs to be said again. The umpires apparently determined that Carrington was the one who committed the foul after Tiffany Hayes rushed full speed into a stationary DJ Carrington, knocking her to the ground. The decision was so blatantly incorrect that even those who didn't like Carrington were acknowledging that the officials made a horrible choice and managed to draw a foul. What is this, I wonder? She nearly erased the damn DJ after all. I felt as though I was truly worried about DJ Carrington's life and well-being. I'm like, did you guys not just watch Tiffany Hayes slam her to the ground with her body thrown up against her? Ground? This is absurd. She was literally slammed. Tiffany Hayes jumped on DJ Carrington as if she had no sense, pushing her into the lap of an elderly white guy. This is where the plot really picks up steam and the karma element truly shines through. In most situations, a call this awful would have caused WNBA supporters to become indignant right away. Such a blatant officiating error would have infuriated players, experts, and casual spectators alike. There would have been an abundance of social media posts expressing disapproval of the referees and pity for the player who was let down. However, DJ Carrington isn't just any player, and this wasn't an ordinary situation. The fan response was harsh and quick, but not in the manner you might anticipate. Fans effectively screamed, "Good! She had it coming!" Skylar's going down for a fast break layup. DJ wins up and smacks her across the head. And Skylar is on the court. Rather than uniting to support a player who had obviously been victimized by a horrible call, people were saying, "Okay, DJ, this is happening a little bit too much for my liking." But they were having trouble getting up. These rash plays and strong fouls are occurring a bit too frequently. Additionally, I want to show you guys one more play from that game that really hurt Gabby Williams. If you watch here, you'll see that Gabby Williams is going up. The reaction on social media was clear. Fans who had witnessed Carrington poke Caitlin Clark in the eye, commit several egregious fouls, and come down to where Gabby Williams doesn't have enough landing space when she lands in her landing space and then Gabby Williams rolls her ankle. DJ jumps to try to block her. Comments flowed in along the lines of, "Karma finally caught up with her, and now she knows how it feels." For those who often play with what they perceived as dirty tactics to suddenly find themselves feeling a moment of happiness. The response was so consistent that it became into a narrative in and of itself. The basketball world showed virtually no pity for a player who had been seriously harmed by refereeing. "We're pulling players to the ground by their hair, man." DJ Ratchet as Carrington is back at it again, being the dirty player that she is. This was a perfect example of how reputation and past behavior can color public perception even when someone is obviously the victim of an injustice. "I'm so over this narrative, but I just play hard as __, and I just make a play on the ball, and I'm tired of people calling me a dirty player." To say that it was one of the worst calls in WNBA history would be an understatement. But what did we tweet earlier this week, everyone? Despite not moving or making contact, Carrington was called for a foul when Hayes charged at full speed and struck her from behind. By all standards and reasoning, it should have been a penalty on Carrington, who did everything correctly. Chased the ball, pulled back, and held her ground. Dallas fans were rightfully incensed, not only because the call cost their team possession in a pivotal moment, but also because it symbolized everything that was wrong with WNBA officiating. The game completely changed momentum, with what should have been Dallas ball becoming Golden State possession. The call was so bad that even Golden State fans, who benefited from the decision, found it difficult to defend it. And the Valkyries won by 10 points. However, do you know what another referee said? Well, one says his Dallas ball. Another referee. As you can see here, Salon missed Vaki's rebound, which was apparently taken by Tiffany Hayes. DJ also fouled Tiffany Hayes, who apparently got the rebound and was fouled by jumping on Deja Carrington. The whole situation was full of beautiful irony, as Carrington had poked Caitlin Clark in the eye without a foul call or league punishment, and she had committed several egregious foils that were later retracted. Through all of this, she managed to avoid being on the losing end of the officiating lottery that had been affecting other players all season. But on July 26th, karma finally caught up with her in the most ideal way possible. She had created situations that required security intervention with referees. Jane Carrington, damn, I didn't think it was this bad. She played for 15 minutes. The call directly led to points for the opposition and contributed to a loss that could have playoff implications later. This occurred during a tight game where every possession mattered in a season where Dallas was struggling and needed every win they could get. It seemed to go on forever. She finished with 4 points, 1 assist, and 4 rebounds. Let me explain why we should have won. Alright, so in terms of the largest lead, the Dallas Wings had a 12-point advantage, which we blew, while the Golden State Valkyries only had a 2-point advantage. At most, they were 10 points ahead of us in this game. 12 versus 10 points. Usually, when a player is cheated on by the referee, they can rely on at least some public support. Fans may be critical of the call. Analysts may dissect the play to highlight the official's errors, and social media may rally around the wrong player. DJ Carrington was not one of those players. As an example of how past actions can influence current perceptions, even when someone is obviously the victim of an injustice, the overwhelming reaction was basically, "Sucks to be her, but she brought this on herself." When fans are more interested in watching a player get screwed over by bad officiating than they are in criticizing the officiating itself, it suggests that the league has. WNBA, when will she be punished, banned, or expelled from the league for this careless behavior? This is the 4th time the league has lost some trust with its own fan base. Is this look that pulls players to the ground by their hair not creating plays on the ball? Incident, the Lynx incident, the removal of Ariel Atkins, Skylar Diggins, and now the LA Sparks. When will it end, man? When will she be held accountable for being the ratchet and dirty player that she is? People should be upset about bad calls regardless of which player is impacted. But the response to Carrington's predicament demonstrates that many. The incident also shows how individual players can become lightning rods for larger frustrations within the league. as Carrington's reputation for physical, sometimes dangerous play made her an ideal target for fans who were frustrated with what they perceived as a lack of accountability in the WNBA. From a competitive standpoint, the fact that fans have given up on expecting fair and consistent officiating. If fans begin to think that games can be decided by biased or incompetent officiating, it undermines the entire professional basketball enterprise. Right, black and white sports reporters? Well, it doesn't matter how many times DJ Carrington wants to get on her social media and want to criticize the league for making calls this bad during pivotal moments of close games. The league has regressive fouls. Yes, the league is regressing flagrant fouls on you because it's run by a group of cowards. They're flagrant fouls. They're dirty plays. They're trashy plays. According to her, she's the victim and she's not a dirty player. Extremely physically injured at this point. Ja Carrington, forget about it. You won't be able to overcome these accusations. So, where does DJ Carrington go from here? Her detractors found satisfaction in the July 26th karma moment, but it doesn't allay their valid worries about her play style or her interactions with opponents and officials. In fact, Carrington is a talented player who earned her Most Improved Player award through genuine improvement and hard work. Her defensive skills are genuine, and her offensive development over the past few seasons has been impressive. If anything, it might serve as a wake-up call about how her reputation is affecting her standing in the league. The fact that even her own fans couldn't muster much sympathy when she was obviously wronged by officiating should be a sobering wake-up call. That may be the worst call I've ever seen in basketball. In fact, her reputation for reckless play and poor sportsmanship is overshadowing her basketball skills. I've never seen a basketball call like that. She simply jumped through her like she knew it was coming. People shield. People will stand there and shield the ball. She hopped over the back. In the worst situation, it's an over-the-back fall. The WNBA can learn several important lessons from the DJ Carrington karma incident as it continues to grow and develop as a league. First and foremost, the officiating quality needs to drastically improve. Calls like this during important and bad game moments cannot occur in a professional league. It is at least a foul on Tiffany Hayes, if not a flagrant. That wants to be taken seriously. Second, the league needs to improve player behavior management and consistent discipline. Third, the league office should have taken more direct action to address Carrington's pattern of dubious plays instead of letting her reputation grow to the point where fans celebrated her bad luck. And fourth, the WNBA needs to understand that its credibility depends on fans thinking that games are decided. You won't. Of course, they're resending the fouls. That's what this league does. Okay, so this is a look, people. When fans are more interested in seeing karma served than in seeing fair play, it indicates that the league needs to work on restoring audience trust. Can distinguish between dirty play and physical play, and now there's a long list of evidence. Look, DJ Carrington should have been suspended and fined several times by now. Of course they will. No, we're gonna give you a flagrant and then we're cool behind the scenes. The link to Caitlin Clark has been unavoidable throughout this entire story. Carrington's reputation issues really started with the eye poke incident in September 2024, so it's appropriate that her karma moment occurred during a season in which Clark remained the league's biggest star and most watched player. The two players' approaches to handling controversy couldn't be more different. Clark, who has gained admiration for her basketball prowess as well as her maturity and sportsmanship, handled being poked in the eye with poise, defended Carrington's intentions, and concentrated on her own performance. Carrington, although a gifted player, has turned into a divisive figure linked to risky play and bad choices. The July 26 karma moment felt like the basketball universe balancing the score between these two players. Carrington was the victim of a call that most definitely shouldn't have been a foul, and Clark had been the victim of a no call that could have been a foul. It was the purest expression of poetic justice.